Hello there, this is Dan Mangan, and you are listening to The Leake in Review.
Now forget everything that you thought you knew from the shed of dreams, the Leake in Review.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Lots of great stuff coming up in terms of artists who want to drop by and participate on the program. We've got Ewan Curry on the way. The Head and the Heart are going to drop by. Some pretty cool things. In today's program, well, a dude who I think might be one of the more intelligent people in the music industry today that is an artist. I know there's a lot of them out there, but this guy, he's thinking. Dan Mangan, who just released Natural Light. You can pick it up everywhere. Go stream it on your favorite service. Give him lots of listens. But first, get to know Dan Mangan a little bit better on today's program, The Leake in Review. Before we get to that, some news. Foo Fighters made headlines this week after unexpectedly parting ways with drummer Josh Freese. Freese, who joined the band in 2023 following the passing of Taylor Hawkins, had become a staple of the band's live performances. Sudden departure left fans speculating about the band's next move. Lots of rumors swirling about potential replacements. While the band has yet to make an official statement, insiders suggest that there could be more shakeups in Foo Fighters land real soon. Bruce Springsteen is gearing up for the release of his highly anticipated biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere. The film, which chronicles Springsteen's rise to fame and the making of his iconic album, Nebraska, is set to hit theaters later this year. Fans, obviously eager to see how the movie captures the essence of the boss's legendary career. That could be one I'll check out. It sounds interesting. And something that I think applies very much so to our pal Dan Mangan, who's coming up in just a bit. All American Rejects have been redefining the live music scene to them with their unconventional house party tour. Instead of playing all the traditional venues, the band has been performing in backyards, bowling alleys, even frat houses. And it's resonating with fans. I mean, things are going viral with All American Rejects. It's a throwback to 2000s pop punk, and people are digging it. And sure, you get a little bit more of a viral moment when the cops come and shut you down, but they're doing it regardless. And the reason why I say this is something that Dan Mangan and All American Rejects maybe want to talk to each other about, Dan Mangan has a whole company that tickets for bands like All American Rejects to come to your backyard and play your frat. More on that with Dan Mangan in just a bit.
Where there's a heartbeat and a stage, there's an artist set to perform. This is The Leake in Review on tour.
Brought to you by the Pecan Agency, connecting bands with fans worldwide. Go check out The War on Drugs. June 5, Chicago. June 12 in Toronto. And on the 20th, they hit Los Angeles. Japanese Breakfast is in Brooklyn on June 7. Austin, Texas at Stubbs on the 15th. Their Texas tea at Stubbs will mess you up. Be careful. June 25th, playing Seattle's Paramount Theater, and Beach Fossils, June 3rd in Philadelphia, and the 10th in Denver. Coming up, Dan Mangan on The Leake in Review.
Hi, my name is Kim Stockwood. I am a proud Newfoundlander and a Canadian singer-songwriter. In a landscape where many lack access to health benefits or employee assistance programs, the Unison Fund serves as a lifeline of hope for musicians and music industry professionals facing medical emergencies or mental health challenges. To learn more about Unison and their programs, please visit unisonfund.ca.
Hello there, this is Dan Mangan, and you are listening to The Leake in Review.
Did you have your tonsils out?
No, I have both of my tonsils.
Yeah, I didn't even know that it was a both thing.
Yeah, there's two, but and so now they're more reluctant to do it than they used to be. Because back in the 80s, it was just like, oh, what's that? You got a sore throat?
Oh.
Do you have your tonsils?
Yeah.
How are they? Let me see.
They're really, no, honestly, they're really good.
good.
Funny enough, though, I was at the dentist the other day and I showed up late because the dentist is close by, so I don't put much into the travel to go there. It's honestly a 5-minute walk. neighborhood dentist. And I got caught up in something and I didn't get there on time.
Right.
They call, hey, are you coming? I'm like 15 minutes late. And the hygienist, it's just a cleaning. And she is going through my teeth. Like, I can tell there's a problem. Like, I'm there regularly, but I know I gotta be bleeding.
Like you can feel the blood. Like
I can feel it. I can't taste it yet.
Yeah.
It's not, to quote the Weaker Thans, that tinny blood.
Yeah.
At the end, she says, we're going to book you for another cleaning in just a few months so we can do a better job.
It's like you couldn't even get it all done.
So you're admitting you did a crappy job and you were racing, and this is why I'm bleeding.
So, but or is it that the plaque was so bad that they had to like do like a?
I am there.
It's like you scrub the pot and then you let it soak again.
I think I could eat clay and let it harden overnight, and I would still have good teeth because of my ritual of cleaning and all that stuff.
You're a flosser.
I'm a flosser. I'm a joker. I'm a taker.
A toker. Midnight brusher. You know what I do?
That's good.
30 on the bottom inside.
Midnight brusher.
30
I have the electric.
Yeah. But 30, 30, 30, 30. 2 minutes.
Dan Mangan is here. New album.
Talking brushing.
Natural Light.
Yeah.
I like the title.
Doesn't it seem like there should already be an album called Natural Light?
Well, it's interesting too because natural light means much more than just natural light. It's just like an awakening. It's like to me that is. I know that I know that bands don't want it to be. It's up for interpretation amongst anyone, but you're talking about, it could be about chemicals and the stuff that we're ingesting. It could be about sonars that are just banging me in the head.
It's mostly about conspiracy theories. Yeah. It's
yeah.
Like,
but there's
you know, like when the sun is shining through a window and then you see all these little particles of dust in the light as it's coming through. To me, that's what this album feels like. It's like all those little dust particles floating in the beam of light.
Is that the music?
That's just it.
Or are those the ideas?
That's just the idea that I have now. When we were making it, so it originally had another title. It was going to be called Contained Free, which there's a whole story about why that was. But essentially, like I wanted the record to be made in one contained space, but I wanted to feel the freedom to be creatively whatever. And so that was like the mantra while we were making it. We'd be like, oh, Contained Free. That was a great take. And then I gave it to Arts and Crafts, and they're like, great record. But the title feels kind of cerebral, a little academic, like not very inviting, whereas the music is really, really inviting and warm. Can you think of a title that's a little bit more akin to how the music feels? And I was like, you know.
But that's like good feedback, I think.
It is. In the moment, I was like, damn you.
Yeah, because you're wrapping it up. It's like the project
you
is
close
done.
the door on a decision and you're like, oh God, I don't have to make any more decisions. And then like, can you make that decision again? And so I would literally like got off the phone and I went upstairs and I turned on the shower because I hadn't showered yet. And I turned off the bathroom light and I cracked the blinds a little bit to let some natural light in. And in my mind, I thought to myself, I prefer to bathe in natural light. And I was like, natural light. And then it all made sense. And I'm so glad that they did have that feedback. 1 point for the suits. They were right.
I imagine you're a person that has also showered in a jungle somewhere.
I've showered a lot of places. One time I showered in South Africa.
Sorry, it's just so funny. I've showered in a lot of places.
I showered in an open shower in a safari area in South Africa. And not a safari. What is it? Animal reservoir? No. Reserve. Amazing place. Don't remember what it's called. But I did. Yeah, I showered. There were like little critters everywhere, little animals all over the place.
What brought you there?
I was doing a charity show for an organization that had a part in Canada, part in Bulembu, which is in what was called Swaziland. Now it's called Eswatini. And to
the south. So this is the southern South.
Yeah, we had to fly into Johannesburg. But the charity collapsed. But they had already paid for us to go to this place. And they were like, there was already like an itinerary, everything. It was all paid for. They're like, so the concert's off, but you should still go and check out this place.
So they're not involved anymore, but South Africa region, never mind the country, dangerous place.
Yeah. So we had an escort. Like we had a person who picked us up at the airport and took us in their car. And
what kind of armory did they have?
No armor. But, somebody who knew the territory. I mean, who knows? He might have had a gun or something. I'm not sure. I never saw it.
I've also heard too that I forget what type of monkey ape it is, but
baboon?
A baboon in Southern Africa is like
everywhere.
This is going to rip your face off.
Yeah, we saw them like on the side of the highway. They're crazy looking. They're pretty intense
and strong. Dan Mangan has a new album, Natural Light. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I saw something of you the other day. You were shooting social content and you kind of had just to me, a great clip of it. And you just spoke openly to somebody who was walking on the street going, Dan, I love your music. And you're like, yeah, actually, we're just shooting some social stuff. And I got a guy on the roof over there. And I've got multi-cameras over here. And it was super honest in that. And I'll be honest, I think knowing what I think I know of you, Dan, you are such a doing person. You are the most adept to be flexible in the idea of social. I met you. You handed me a CD.
Yeah. Burned CD probably. Early CDR days.
I will say the album art was a little bit lacking.
Yeah. I you know what? I didn't know. It was probably my first record. I learned Photoshop barely so that I could make that album cover.
A journal of narcoleptic things.
It was the record is called Postcards and Daydreaming, but the song Journal of a Narcoleptic was sort of like the single, if you will.
I think you gave it to me in Winnipeg in like a bar where I've seen blood mopped up off the floor.
2006. I've told this story so many times. I had no agent, no manager, no label, no distributor, no nothing, no publicist. But I gave you that CD and I remember thinking like, oh, you probably won't listen to it, whatever. And then a month or so later, So Much for Everyone, 6-minute song, no chorus. It was charting on The Verge, up with like Sam Roberts and Billy Talent. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This guy's amazing. He put my song on the radio.
Well, Dan, you have just, your songs they don't all need to have that 30 seconds in. We're going to repeat the hook 8 times. Your melodies.
That's why they're not successful. I guess.
No, your melodies are the catch. Like you were writing your own path as opposed to a lot of artists. I need to sound like that band.
Yeah.
I need to be more like the Beatles. I need to be more like Nickelback.
Oh, thank you. I really take that as a compliment. In that, like, I feel like I've sort of walked in genre with other bands and I've been part of a scene here and there, but I feel like every record sounds kind of uniquely like me and is different from the other records. I feel like each record is its own little rabbit hole. And I really am, that's intentional. Like I like a record to feel like an era of a body of work. And I like the idea that things can be, vague targets. Like you go into something, you're saying like, an openness with socials or whatever. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm like kind of older than most people who are good at social media, but there's an element to it where it's just like, you just have to be willing to make an ass of yourself. You have to be willing to laugh at yourself. You have to be willing to embarrass yourself. And if you're not willing to do those things, like, then you can't be mad when it doesn't all happen for you. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like there's a lot of people my age who are like, I didn't sign up for social media. It's like, that's fine. But social media is like 50-60% of the job criteria now. That's like your job description is social media person. And it's kind of depressing. I heard somebody say on Twitter, like, musicians think that music is still the product. And I was like, oh God.
It's your great person to have that because yes, you don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. No artist wants to do social media. No. You want to write songs.
I would delete all of the apps tomorrow if I had nothing to sell, but I always have something to sell.
But you have to market you because there are 1 million bands who are marketing themselves. So no better person to do it. You're the same guy that I met. How many of those years ago? 16, 17,
Almost
18?
20 years ago. Yeah.
Handing me the CD was the same thing as social media today.
Yeah. 19 years ago. It was 2006.
Out there hustling it.
Crazy.
And then, so things start happening. You're playing more shows. You're getting more into it. And then you kind of diversify. Like you get the label, you get the management. And I know I'm 100% a result of that because of all my connections that I brought to you.
Well, there's a clause in all my contracts, the Leake clause. And it was like,
No. But you then move into a whole other side of Dan Mangan, and that is the business of helping artists get the shows. And with Side Door, my question to you is, why did that even come about? What was the moment where you said, we need to have another business stream to help artists? Because it's not about you.
Yeah.
Half of it is maybe, or a quarter of it is, but it's really about others.
Yeah. So when I was getting going, I played 1 million house concerts, and I realized that if I played to 30 people in a bar, I'd get paid in beer tickets. If I played to 30 people in a living room, I'd make $500. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a very different scenario.
Sounds risky.
Yeah, it's a little risky. But it was just...
No, I mean risky just going into someone's house.
Well, not really.
I haven't been in most of my neighbors' homes. You're traveling around, you're going into...
But I was young.
random.
I was audacious. I was, it was exciting. The idea of going and like playing and meeting people and hanging out till 1 million in the morning and crashing on the couch or whatever. It was, I was kind of...
You would stay at the same house that
sometimes,
you just played at?
Yeah. Sometimes. But sometimes I would play a show. I wouldn't even know where I was staying that night. I would say to the audience, like, anybody have a couch to crash on? But this is like early days, pre like social media, or just early like DIY, making it work, playing anywhere that would have me. Anyways, I realized that, like, what if there was this network of off-grid hosts, like living rooms and backyards, but then also like cafes and warehouses, or
sure, a cafe doesn't know how to book an artist,
or
it could be
bookstore.
an easier way to access an artist.
And so I teamed up with my friend Laura, who was a house concert host and worked in the music industry in Halifax. And we realized that we kind of had like separately come to the same conclusion of like, there could be this tool. So Side Door is essentially like a marketplace for the arts where any space is a venue. So you can create a profile for your backyard, your bowling alley, your curling rink, whatever, a national park, and then connect directly with artists, build the shows together, sell tickets. You can create a unique revenue split of where the ticket money goes. Everything's transparent. It's sort of like deconstructing or democratizing the live entertainment booking world. Because what we realize is that 97% of touring artists don't have an agent. It's 3% that are actually, have an agent who are booking their shows. Everyone else is doing it themselves.
But even with that, even the artists who do have booking agents, it doesn't mean that there's not money to be found in that market, because you could be a band that could, say, play 500 people on a Friday night in a market, but yet there's super fans who would love for them to come and play their garage or backyard.
Yeah, and sometimes you got like a couple of days off in a row and you want to fill it, you want to make a bit of money, or you want to hit like a smaller town in between the two towns.
There's towns in between the venues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, we've paid artists, I think $2 or $3 million. There's 11,000 artists on there, about 3,500, 4,000 hosts.
Is this worldwide, or do you have?
It's mostly in North America, but it functions worldwide. There's no reason why it can't be worldwide. There's a small scene in Europe. It's mostly in America and Canada, but it's growing all the time. And the other thing is that artists are using it just to ticket their shows, because it's just free ticketing. It's cheaper than Eventbrite. So it's like you can ticket your shows on Side Door, even if you're not. But it's we call it like ticketing with benefits. There's like the ticketing portion, and then there's the like connection world where you can, as an artist, find hosts, and as a host, find artists. So it's honestly like, it's not something I ever thought I would get involved with, being like involved in tech. I had to go and raise money and pitch this to like investors and the whole bit.
But you're the perfect person to do it.
Well, it was sort of, I was like the proof. It was like, look, I did this, and now I'm, So yeah, I could sell it with conviction because I know that sandbox so well.
But you just have that motor. Like, again, for someone who I met in that dingy bar who handed me the CD, I'll tell you that in my history of working in programming and music and that, you might be in the top 1% of all that.
Made it.
You know, but it turned fast.
Yeah.
Like there's I know of a couple other bands, but you proved yourself and got you in that motor. But your family didn't play music, right?
No. I mean, sort of, not professionally. My stepbrother was a very highly trained guitar player, and he was living with us for a while. He was much older, and his like room and board was he had to teach me and my brother and my sister how to play guitar. So there was music in the house.
So wait a minute, your mom told you that this is the rules?
No. So, well, basically it was like a Brady Bunch situation where there was like, remarriage and then older stepbrothers. And he was living in the house with us in the country for free for a little while. And the way that he sort of paid rent to my
Where in
parents.
BC is this?
This is in Ontario.
This is in Ontario. Okay.
Yeah. This is in a tiny little town called Wilfrid, Ontario that no one's ever heard of. It's not too far from Orillia. But I went to school in Cannington, Ontario, and tiny, like population 50.
Wow. Yeah. It's almost not even an intersection.
It was one cross street across a 1-lane highway. It was, it's tiny. It's in the middle of nowhere. My mom was a minister, so she would travel and do like a few services every Sunday.
Is that where you get your presentation skills from?
Maybe. It's funny because when I was like 12, I was like, Mom, I'm done with this. I'm not going to church anymore. And she, to her credit, she was like, yeah, that's fine. No problem. And I'm not I consider myself a spiritual, but very secular person. I'm not into the institution. I'm not into the dogma or the patriarchy or the shame or the guilt or any of that.
You're saying it's okay to believe.
Well, I don't believe in like a thing that's like a person. I don't believe that I believe in like a connective, energetic sort of spirit that like is at the heart of life and the, sort of pulsing heart of everything. But I don't believe that it has an opinion.
Not a man who's living in the clouds.
Yeah. Not gendered, doesn't have consciousness, can't be pissed off at me, is ambivalent.
Well, it's like us sitting here right now. We have positive energy, but I believe you bring that to me every time I see you. Whereas I have other friends who I will see
suck the life out of the room.
Like, wow, I just lost a keg of beer and I don't feel like being here anymore.
I feel like we have a choice of how we want to be in this world and how we want the world to be back at us. Kindness, generosity is not a zero-sum game. If you give kindness, you give generosity energetically or, literally, it comes back to you. So it's like, I don't believe in altruism. I don't think that like people are kind because they lack ego or want. I want things. I am selfish in my own way, but I understand that like just being energetically kind makes my life better. It makes me happier. So
is that coming from your solo travels that you've discovered that?
Maybe some of it. Yeah. I mean, I spent a lot of time like going around Europe with, guitar over my shoulder and a luggage full of CDs and, just
cables
up and down train stations, coming back ripped, because it's just lifting stuff for a month.
Didn't you think you were going to get robbed in like Amsterdam one night because some guy was following you?
Manchester. I got into Manchester and 2 guys were following me and so dumb. I was so young. I didn't even know where I was staying, but I knew there was a hostel nearby.
And you probably didn't have a smartphone.
No, this is like pre flip phone, like nothing.
So you had probably printouts of where the directions were or something like that?
Yeah, like MapQuest or something. Yeah. So I knew that there was like a hostel just down from the train station. So I'm like, I'm just going to go there. And these guys are following me and they're like, hey, mate, like, oh, what you got there, As was my really good accent that I do.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
you do a good German.
I'm like ringing the buzzer of this hostel, like, let me the fuck in. These guys are kind of like starving, looking at my guitar, and like finally the buzzer door opens and I'm like, shut it behind me. And
were you traveling with an expensive guitar or?
I mean, to me, it was expensive.
Sure.
It's
the only one you had to work.
It's the only one I had. Yeah. It's also, it's the guitar that I learned on It wasn't a nice guitar, but
Aren't those the ones? Because I have one that is you can just go hit baseballs with,
mm-hmm.
and it's my favorite guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It is garbage. I had it all reset, and it's not even wood,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it because it was the one that I got.
Yeah, instruments have sentimental value. You know, like you can walk into a guitar shop and pick one up and you're like, nope. Pick up another. Nope. Pick up a third one. Oh yeah.
Are you a collector though?
I'm like not intentionally. I don't fancy myself a collector. I don't like the idea of collecting stuff. However, I have inadvertently collected some guitars.
Are you pretentious in the sense that like I can't play this on stage? Because I was talking with Stephen Wilson Jr. on another podcast, and he plays a Dreadnought, nylon strings, put a pickup in it, runs it through an amp like Willie Nelson, and his guitar it looks like it's been eaten by a shark.
Right.
Because it's not the way it's supposed to be played. And he's like, when it's done, this guitar just goes away.
Yeah.
And it's gone. Are you that kind of person?
It's kind of how I am with jeans. Like these jeans are ripped to tatters. I'll wear the same pants every day for like until they're just broken. And I don't. But
I have no
anyways,
problem with that.
But guitars, I don't know. I'm not that pretentious. Honestly, like I feel like a good song is a good song. If I'm playing a shitty guitar, I don't love that. But sometimes, I mean, shitty's a relative term, right? Like one of my favorite guitars I own was $60, bought it at a pawn shop in, Boring, Oregon. And it's a piece of junk, but it's my piece of junk that I've written like 10 songs on.
And it stays in tune long enough.
It hangs on my wall. It looks good on the wall. I pick it up. It's not even that nice to play, but it has a nice sound. It's just like a cheap Sears guitar from the 50s. It's the kind of guitar you'd give like your nephew for $50.
Is it called Famous?
No, there's a few. There's Famous. There's Airline. This is an Airline, but I also have some Harmonies, and Harmony that was like the Sears brand.
But mom and dad didn't have music, right? How did it start for you to get into music?
So my mom played piano. Yeah. My dad didn't play any music, but by the time I was getting into music, we were living in Ontario. My mom had remarried. And there was a lot of music in the household in that, like, my sister was really into like Sarah McLachlan and 5440 and like
Wait a minute. Sarah McLachlan, didn't she present you with your first Juno?
You know what? I don't remember. I don't remember who gave me my first Juno.
You won 2 Junos the same night.
2012, yeah. No, it was a Saturday, Sunday. I got one on each night. I don't remember who gave me either. I think she gave me the second one, actually.
I remember her talking to you backstage.
Mm-hmm. It was really nice to meet her because when I was a kid, I knew her records like in and out because my sister was a huge fan.
Building a Mystery, are you crazy? That's like one of the greatest songs.
My sister was like she worked for the fan club for Network Records for a little while. She was like really tied into the whole scene. She was neighbors with Veda Hilly, who ended up being on my records and stuff. It was a very, Vancouver-y thing. But I got a lot of respect for Sarah McLachlan and like Into the Fire.
Well, that album actually is like 30 years old. That's
1988. It's older than that.
Right. So big celebrations.
Yeah.
She definitely opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people. Never mind the Lilith Festival.
Yeah.
Or Lilith Fair. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which changed the game, I think, for women's music forever.
Totally. And we were a big CanCon house, like Tragically Hip, Grapes of Wrath, the Waltons, 5440. Like I knew
this is Ontario born.
Yeah, this is like ordering them
5440.
Like ordering them
from
on
Columbia House for 1 cent to
Columbia
get
House, exactly.
11 CDs.
And then and we were kids, so we would like find these little cards saying 1 cent and we'd fill them out and we'd send it in or whatever. And then my parents would get these like letters saying, "Oh, you have to pay all this money now." Because we didn't realize that it was a grift, basically.
There's a back end thing.
Yeah. We also didn't realize that they would give you like the cheaper version of the CD on like a cheaper jewel case.
I didn't know that.
And with like a photocopied crappy piece of liner.
I don't believe that to be true.
Instead of the full booklet.
I do not believe that to be true. You are making this up.
I might be. I don't know. That's how I remember it. I don't know.
I will say that in that era in which that happened, that helped out so many artists because it was kind of like you can get, when you're picking your TV channels, you get package A, package B, package C. They would always put some package B artists in package A, where you're only allowed to pick so many, and it would force you to maybe get an artist that you didn't.
And back then, if you got a CD in the mail, you were going to listen to that CD like 5 times at least, because it's yours now. You got to give it some time.
Also, you're like 10 years old. Nothing comes for you in the mail.
Yeah. It's so exciting.
It's just like
when Ugly Kid Joe arrives in the mail, you
and
get
hates
stoked.
everything about you.
I hate the man who went away. I remember the liner notes, and I remember the guy had a T-shirt that said "sweaty nipples" or something like that. I was like 10, and I was like,
I better hide this from my mom.
Yeah, this is dangerous.
Yeah, my mom's going to preach about this.
She's going to hate this.
Yeah, the water will boil when I walk into the next church.
That's right.
Songwriting today, I was asking an artist this. When they were younger, they said that there was a beauty to it because of their ignorance, and now they go into writing rooms and they say there's a beauty to that because you're working with pros, but
you almost know too much.
It's the devil you know, right?
Yeah, it's like if you go to film school, you can never watch movies the same way because you're picking it apart.
Is that what your wife says? Does your wife scale out movies because of
she picks apart actors more than movies, but she'd be like, I didn't like how they did that scene or whatever. But
or it's maybe even make it more similar. It's like if you work at the pizza place, you don't go home and have pizza.
Yeah, there's an element of like, if it's your work, you get really dialed into a thing and you can pick it apart and you understand it really well. And then when something comes on the radio, you're like, you're just more skeptical because you can it's harder for you to experience it in a holistic way because you just know exactly how the sausage was made, So I feel, actually, to be honest, I feel like I'm a better songwriter now than I've ever been. I feel more excited about songwriting than I ever have. But I don't force it. I let it come when it comes, and sometimes it takes a long time. And I feel like the writing room thing is cool to a point. And if you become the type of artist who's like, okay, we need a record, so I'm going to go do writing rooms for 6 months and figure that out, but you're not spending any time just writing songs on your own as well, I think that it starts to feel like a meat grinder, like that you're
factory work.
Yeah. Like you're fulfilling a need. Like, oh, in order to have an album, I need this many songs. And in order to have this many songs, I need to meet with this many people. I feel like when you're young and you're just like writing songs morning, noon, night, because it's just whenever the muse hits you, you're up until a million drinking with your buddies and you go home and then you write a song or whatever. When you have kids and you're in your 40s, and you have like a schedule and you have to get them to soccer practice, it's way harder to do that. But I feel like if you don't try and preserve some of that mystery, some of that, like, I don't know. It's also like I think of it like a sponge. Like if your sponge is soaking wet, you got to wring it out. You got to write. Because you've got too many things in your head, too much going on. You got to get it out. And then when you write, it's dry because you've like used up all your inspiration. And so when it's dry, what do you need to? You need to get it wet again. So you need to watch some good TV shows or read a good book or see a play or go to a museum and look at some cool art or whatever. And then you get like, you get really inspired, fueled up about the connections in between existence. And then you can put that all into more songs. So I feel like it's like a wheel. You got to keep turning the wheel.
How do you reset?
I think you reset.
Like when you're writing a song, you're stuck and, you've got this schedule and you got to move away from it. Like, is it get chased by a bear? Do you go bungee jumping? Like
slap yourself in the face. Yeah. Patience. I honestly, like, you have to have faith.
Is that new?
No, that's always been there. You always have to have faith that it's the same thing with your career, right? Like I've had the fear so many times of like, is this over? Like, am I dried up? Like, is it all downhill from here? And you have to kind of go through that cycle, and then you just have to have faith that you will continue to be inspired by something, that you will continue to work on something. And if you just keep moving, like I was talking to Stephen Page a little while ago, and he had that big viral hit, the like Ryan Reynolds, Canada's Got Your Back kind of thing. I don't know if you remember that. It was like a big moment. It was like all over the internet, and Stephen Page and Ryan Reynolds had this thing. And we were talking about just like, you just can't stop. Like you just have to keep going. Like, and he got, he got ousted from his band. He was caught, in a car with some people doing a bunch of drugs. And he kind of like, he could have just spiraled right down to the bottom. He kept going, and he's got a loyal fan base. He was just on tour with The Who. Like he just kept going. And I think that time serves people well who just don't stop, who just keep going. And sometimes it's going to be amazing, and sometimes it's going to be hard, but it is, I think that fortune favors the people who are willing to trudge through the mud to get to the other side of that muddy river, Dan
Mangan, Natural Light, new release. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you everywhere. Best place to find Dan Mangan, I'm going to guess it's your Instagram. But of the socials, because I know you're doing your TikToks, where would you send people?
You know what? I would love it if people would subscribe to my Substack, because that's a direct relationship. I'm into Instagram. I'm into TikTok. I do all the things. That's not my favorite, but it is a part of it. But danmangan.substack.com. You can text me at 310-347-4597. Let me know where you live, and then I will text you when I'm coming through.
That's not the number I have.
310-347-4597. I have two inboxes. Jeff Leake has the other inbox. But it's great. I can, there's like thousands of people that I text with all the time, and it's a direct relationship. And that's what I'm looking for with people. I don't want to have to fight the algorithm to reach people. So if you give me your email or you text me, then we can have a one-to-one relationship that doesn't rely on all these big, trans global social media companies.
Dan Mangan's the best. All the best. New album. And we'll chat again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeff. Much love.
Now forget everything that you thought you knew from the shed of dreams.